Some big moves happening at the state legislature in Baton Rouge, and even some talk that we might end the current session early to get to the next one, which we shouldn't be having anyway, in my opinion.
Right.
Quicker.
Right.
I don't know what's happening.
Well, State Senator Freddie Mills, he's going to try to shed some light on all of this for us. Hey, good morning.
Good morning, KPEL family. How's everybody on a big Friday?
Well, it's Friday, so we're concentrating on that. It's awesome that it's Friday.
It is. It's a lot easier than Monday.
Well, you're right about that.
So, Fred, so you had some big movement, some success this weekend in the legislature with one of your bills passing.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it was really a tug of war between kind of the law enforcement community and the medical community of concerning medical marijuana. I know I've been on your program before and you've given me a chance to talk about it, but this week we really had two lively debates on the Senate floor. On Tuesday, the vote fell short by one vote to pass Senate Bill 271, and on Wednesday it passed by 21 votes, which was two votes extra that we needed. But it was a very lively debate.
Now, by lively, a lot of folks are very worried that if we do the medical marijuana in Louisiana, that it's going to lead to recreational use. But
Right,
your bill is not in any way, shape, or form designed to ever do that or lead to that. I mean, it really is about your people needing help.
Exactly. I mean, to make a very long story short, this bill is probably the most conservative medical marijuana bill in the United States, and there's over 41 states that have done this. But really, it just boils down to the oil of medical marijuana. It removes the euphoria piece. It's very, very, very medicinal, and that's where we get the complications of the debate. People center around medical marijuana, and then people center around the recreational piece. And I try focusing everybody into here's the medical debate. Let's center on that and not talk about the recreational piece. And that's where there's a big disconnect in the debate.
Yeah.
And do you have people who are just worried about what would happen if that actually happens here? Because there is, at the same time, and this is probably complicating things for you, there is the whole Legalize It Louisiana movement that's proposing the same thing as a way to fix the budget gap. So I know you're kind of having to deal with that at the same time. Now, the medical marijuana, making it legal is nothing new here. What you're basically doing is trying to just make it accessible to more patients, right?
Your question is 100% on target. It's been legal in Louisiana since the 70s. Then it was reintroduced again into the 90s to try and complement the 70s legislation. What I'm basically trying to do is take the legislation that's been approved since the 70s and just add rules and regulations in how you grow it, dispense it, what disease states are used, how you cultivate it, and how you track it. So it really isn't a legalization piece. It's more just to put the belts and suspenders on already what's legalized. But I have to tell you both, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it is the recreational piece clouds this legislation up.
Yeah. Now, one thing, LSU and Southern would be the two institutions that would get the first right of refusal, and they kind of haven't decided yet on what they're going to do because they're financially thinking, can we work this out?
That's right. I've had a series of closed-doors meetings with Department of Agriculture, with those two schools of agriculture. And in this bill, I've basically put a provision that they have to let me know by September of this year if they're in or if they're out. If they're out, then a request for proposal would be done. It would be a public process to bring in a private grower. So that's one thing that the legislation does address that it didn't address last year.
Interesting. Now, let me ask you, some of the patients you have talked to, you sent me a picture of one of the little girls. Her and her mother came to testify. Now, this little girl, she looks like she's about 6 years old in the picture you sent me. Now, her issue is with seizures?
Yeah, Bernie, I tell you what, this absolutely brought tears to my eyes. There's a lady by the name of Michelle Hall who brought her adoptive daughter in, Ella Hall, and they came in last year and testified. They originally were living in Colorado. They got a job in South Louisiana in the oil and gas industry. When she was in Colorado, she was on Charlotte's Web, and she was on just that one medication of medical marijuana. Her seizures were very few and far between. Came back here, couldn't use the drug because it's not legal here. The little girl was on 17 medications for seizure and the side effects of seizure. They put all of the medications on the table in testimony, and she said, this medication is toxic. My child is just in a worse condition. Please legalize it. Well, fast forward, and we're working on the implementation of this. They came and they met me at my place of work about 2 months ago, and the family basically was going to separate. And they put the little girl in my arms. They were moving to Colorado, the mom and the little girl. The family was going to stay here. They did stay here. They sent me pictures of her, and that's the picture I sent you, of her receiving her Charlotte's Web, her medication. And the email that I get from them basically says her seizures are far and few between. She's eating. Her life is back to normal. And please, Senator Mills, when are you going to legalize this? Because we have the opportunity in Colorado, but we want to come home. And I will tell you, Bernie, I probably have hundreds and hundreds of these emails or people that have come meet me. And I don't know how to describe it. It's just it's an issue that when you meet people and they tell you their story, or they tell you that they're growing marijuana in the back of their house and they're pressing the oils and they're using it for their medical conditions, but they don't want to break the law. That's kind of what drives me to keep doing this legislation, because it's a tough piece of legislation to convince people that it's not recreational, it's not a joke, it's not for just fun and games. It's really for medicinal use. But I wanted to send you that to kind of get you the flavor of the things I'm getting every day.
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting, and especially whenever you see a child who's suffering. It's like whatever we could do if it's not hurting everyone else, And like you said, with it just being the oil, not the euphoric properties of it, also makes a difference too. I just want to ask you one more thing before we let you go. So we're sort of wrapping up with this legislative session right now. Looks like we are heading to a budget session 2.0, and there are talks about ending the current session early to get to that. Is that what you're hearing? What are your thoughts on that?
Those rumblings are just coming about. I don't sit on Senate Finance like I did 4 years ago. I'm chairman of Health and Welfare, so a lot of the medical things I'm working on. But I will say that that's the talk I'm hearing, and there was even talk like, could we have kind of the regular session and the special session all in the one to save money, and that wasn't constitutionally allowable. But that's what I'm hearing, and I'm sensing as this session's moving forward that it's more centering around the budget and what shortfalls mean to that. And my goodness, we could have a 2-hour discussion on just that issue and what ramifications pro and con are we dealing with on that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll let you know when we can't book any guests, and we'll just book you one morning for 2 whole hours, and we'll just let you talk about it. We'll kill the commercials and everything.
I'll be like a booty call. Y'all just call me.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And that's why I love Senator Fred Mills and Fridays.
Thanks for waking up early with us, Senator.
Yo, we got to laugh a little bit. Y'all have a good weekend and enjoy the festival.
Oh, we will. You too. We'll see you out there, man.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. He is just... That man
not
cracks me up.
Not surprised, but shocked. I was at a good position lung wise because I would have a couple days ago hacked up a lung of that. So
yes, this is true.
Always good talking to.
Is much better.
Always good talking to Senator Freddie Mills at 748 at KPEL.